Welcome to another edition of Word on the Street. We are back. And in our new studios, this is beautiful, don't you think?
It is beautiful.
We are back, man, and you know what? I'm so happy that you're back here again. And today I'm not alone. I'm with the boss lady. Hi, boss lady.
Hi.
And today I've got a very special guest with me, Miss Rotenda Malisha. How are you, my darling?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm great. Listen, I've been going for so long, man. You know, I've been going for so long, and it hasn't. I've missed this place. I've missed talking to people. You know,
I know you enjoy that.
Yeah, I do, because it's beautiful to talk to people. You understand what I'm saying? Talk and say hello, and then you say this and that, and then we talk, and then we get to know about our country and everything else. You know, and people think that our podcast is actually a political. It's not political all the time. It's actually about everything. You understand? And you're a new person, you're a new guest, so you will get used to the feel that what is that we're literally talking about. And here we talk.
Oh yeah.
Okay? And you mustn't be afraid to talk. You must talk. Don't be afraid of saying anything that comes to your mind and say, okay, now I want to understand this and that. You understand?
Yeah.
Guys, as I said, we're not live on Facebook too, unfortunately. I don't know, Facebook doesn't have a live button anymore. I don't know, I haven't seen that. But we are gonna be on YouTube, and I want you to subscribe, and I want you to hit the notification bell. Let's make this podcast big. Okay? It's Word on the Street with Kostile Sohongwane. I'm Kostile Sohongwane, and I'm gonna be posting this video, as I said, on Facebook, and we're talking about this thing, you know what, in and out. Alright. Rotenda, just to jump in it, today I was thinking of maybe doing something nice, or something, different. But then I was like, nah. I'm not even politics again.
Oh God.
Yeah. I want to talk about politics again. I'm tired of this thing. But I want us to analyze the judiciary of this country.
Okay.
Judiciary, like the judges and whatnot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you know what? The thing is, way back, people didn't know what is this thing of, remember judiciary, what is judiciary, was it made of, and all that, right? Mm-hmm. But the judiciary mostly is made of judges, there's chief justice, the deputy, and then there's other judges. Yeah, mm-hmm. There's constitutional judge, not in parliament, but constitutional court. That's where the judges are, and they are in high courts as well.
Yeah.
And then they are in magistrate courts. They are called magistrate, the lower ones, the lower courts. Yeah. But specifically, I want to talk about one judge, the new chief justice.
The new chief justice.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. This guy is full of stuff, but I want to talk about him because you know what? The thing is, this guy is. I don't know what you want to be, a celebrity judge or what is it that you want to be, but he's just everywhere. Like, I've never seen Mokwe in his tenure calling a press conference to analyze an opinion piece.
I've also never heard him.
Exactly. But then this one does that. He even does a visual one. The visual people, like...
Via Zoom.
Yeah, those who can come. They're doing Zoom. You understand what I'm saying? So, my problem is that I don't have a problem as such with Mr. Raymond Zondo, in a way, right? But I've got a problem with how they are now trying to narrate and how to control our views as South Africans. Like, how are we supposed to think? What are we supposed to do? How are we supposed to criticize them? That we can't even tell them that they are wrong.
Yeah.
and then they call it an attack on the judiciary.
Probably it's another way of telling South Africans that you do not have a say.
In a way, it is actually in a way like that, because if I can't say anything that I like to say about you, or I can't say anything that I want to say about you, that means I am being I'm being censored.
Mm-hmm.
And censoring in this world now is growing,
It's
where
growing.
people cannot talk and say whatever they feel. We see about transgender issues. We see men just saying, I want to be a woman tomorrow, and they compete with women who are born women, and he beats them, and then they say, then you can't say anything. If I something like that, I'm being cancelled. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
But today, we'll talk about that some next time. As well as another topic that you must think about. Yeah, do some research. All right. Today, what I want to talk about mostly is the reason why I chose this topic today, to be honest with you, is because of during the week there's this sense of maybe thing going on, right?
Yes.
And on Twitter, this guy, the lawyer, I don't know if the lawyer Devo.
Yes,
I don't know who's.
my favorite one.
Yeah, I love him as well. He's like a college woman soon, I'm telling you.
I'm telling you.
Only because
that one
he's-
is fixing the country.
Exactly,
That one is
exactly.
fixing the country.
I mean, the guy was like inside courtroom, but imagine that's a mafia nonsense shit.
And that's why he didn't know why he was getting arrested.
Well, the funny part is that he didn't know why he was getting arrested, yes, but according to the other sources of the media, which is very biased of this country, they're like, no, he knew he was going to be arrested. That's why he went inside the courtroom
Oh.
to be arrested instead of make a big fuss about it. I'm like, come on,
Oh.
now you're being petty.
Is it?
Yeah, that's what they say. I think they're trying to shade the guy, they're trying to cloud him, they're trying to make him look like he's just this maverick person.
Yeah.
Only because he does not support what the current president is doing.
Mm.
And it's actually showing the court what's happening, that's the truth.
But it seems like even the judge who's in charge of Mayo's case already knew the suspects, the murderers who played.
Okay, listen.
Because now.
Yeah, let's look at this one.
Mm.
Somebody's getting killed inside a house full of people, but none of them are being called into question. How is that possible? None of them are being called in for question to be asked, okay, you guys was there, you saw the person being killed.
Mm-hmm.
What did you do? What happened? Who did what?
I think that's also the first statement. Hori, you're telling the court that you were 7,
Yeah.
but none of you saw a murderer. None of you saw where that gun came from.
Exactly. So that is why I think they're doing that now. But like I said, those other topics like that, they're going to be another session of this. They're going to analyze everything now. You understand? So the reason why I mentioned that there for things, because he asked the judge to indict those people in the house. He told them, listen, you need to indict those people. You need to tell the NPA to indict them so that they can be charged. And you know what the judge said? The judge says, no, we cannot do that. I have a clip, I'm going to play it, and then you can hear that for yourself.
Okay.
The judge told him, no, we cannot indict. We don't have the power as the judiciary to instruct an particular institution to do something. Then he reminded them of the Zuma matter.
Because they issued a warrant.
They did. No, besides the warrant, what happened is that the DA was the complainant in that matter.
Yes.
And the DA went to court and asked the judge to instruct the NPA to charge Zuma.
Mm-hmm.
And the court did that, North Gauteng Court here in Pretoria in town. They did that. And the question was, isn't this overreach, the judicial overreach? What happened to separation of powers? Parliament, legislature, and the judiciary, they're supposed to be separate 3 houses.
Mm-hmm.
They mustn't supposed to step on each other's toes,
Yeah.
according to the constitution of the country. So, by that time, they were making laws for the Zuma man, remember? They were just creating laws for him. I'm going to talk about that as well today. I'm going to analyze the judgment that Khabebe gave and show you the harshness. Just listen to the tone of the words, how those words was put. This is like, this person doesn't have any rights. He's like a prize, like he's like a curse. This person is just what you know, those kind of things. So I'm going to talk about that as well. Then we can go to discuss and say, but is this really how it's supposed to be?
Yeah.
You know? And then we look into these people, and then they are not elected, by the way, they are appointed by the president. So I can put whoever I like. That's why Zondo, when he was interviewed, he knew he was going to be Chief Justice.
Chief Justice.
Yeah, I mean, the guy admitted that he lied about him meeting Zuma. He said before he never met him in the State Capital Commission.
Is it?
When Zuma told him, listen, you need to accuse yourself because you have got history. He's like, no, I don't know you. But then in the interviews, he actually said, yeah, they did meet in a hotel, not officially, like he said they did, in a hotel to discuss Malema's comment about killing for Zuma and dying for Zuma. Remember that Malema said something like that?
Yeah.
He now admitted that yes, they did meet. So President Zuma actually was right about this guy being conflicted in a way. But then he told us, South Africans, that no, he never met Zuma. And we went along with that.
We bought that story.
We bought that story. Man, it's South Africa for you. You know, that's what we get when we put unelected and individuals in houses of power like the judiciary. Like I'm gonna read his response to Sisulu as well, and just listen to that. Even the so-called this new one, what's his name? Lamola, the new Minister of Justice, that little boy. That boy, yeah, no, he's a boy because he doesn't really behave like a man. I mean, a man doesn't do what he does.
Okay.
You don't jump and try to try to save the person in your faction. We know ANC is fractured, like terribly. But then you show that you are fractured. As a minister, you tell us about the gains of democracy. What gains are those? And Sisulu replied, and I have the letter, so I'm going to read that. He replied to him, yeah, it's going to be fiery today. It's going to be like fire, man. Yeah, guys, this is one of the streets, man. I'm with Rotenda, Malisha today, and we're enjoying ourselves. And Boss Lady is there as well, and you know she likes to be in the background. Boss Lady, what's up? Are you right?
No, I'm fine.
You know, so as I said, you're going to be on Facebook, you're going to be on YouTube very soon. So please, when we air these episodes, subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell that when you want to see this episode, you can be able to get them whenever they are being dropped. And the podcast, you can find it on Spotify the app, the music one. You get there, you follow us as well, and then you subscribe, and then you hit the notification bell as well, and then you get the episodes as they drop. Ne? I always post them on my Twitter page at Sokhomwane. I always post them in my Facebook page, Kositile Sokhomwane, and I always post them on our company Facebook Twitter page at KG Holdings. Ne? So you'll get all the episodes there, and if you have Anchor, the link takes you directly to Anchor FM. You can be able to listen to us as well. All right. So please subscribe. Let's make this podcast to be as big as it's supposed to be. Yeah. So Malisha, like I said, let's first start with Sisulu's letter, and I'm gonna read segments, and we're gonna discuss each of them. And you tell me your honest opinion. Was that an attack on anything?
Okay.
Ne? The lady starts by saying, apartheid was illegal. Ne? Apartheid was the system that used to separate us from white people in South Africa. Like, we cannot share things with them. The banks was half, it was white only. You guys don't know, because you just came up in 2000. So, there was a white side of the bank and the black side of the bank. White side of ShopRite, white side of black side of. Maybe the ShopRite, it was for us in townships. They were shopping Checkers. Checkers was there. That's why Checkers in the go Peter is different. You see it now in townships, but before it was not there. Ne? And there was separate benches for the parks. Like no parking, you'll see a bench, a seat written white only. Slacks blankets. No black people allowed there. If they find you in there, they arrest you. That was
At the park?
In the park, public park.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember at home, Lichtenberg, you have this park in the middle of the town, right? It still has this Delare statue there, one of the African leaders and whatnot. And my mother would say to us, you know, whenever we were like going town to shop, and we sit in that park, the whites will leave, and after like a few moments, they'll either put on the sprinklers for the water to water the grass and then to make us get out, or you'll see a white, yellow police car coming to take us out. That's how it was terrible. But hey, that's another topic for another day. To teach you people, you kids actually, what is this that we went through? Alright, so she says, apartheid was legal in air quotes, was legal. Jim Crow laws in the US were legal. Jim Crow was the guy who actually did all the slavery laws.
Yeah.
He wrote how slaves must be treated, how slaves must be done, whatever.
And slaves, they mean black people.
Black people in America when they were slaves, yeah.
Yeah.
And colonialism was legal here in the whole world where there was colonialism, it was legal as well. So those were a violation of human rights, but they were legal. The law allowed it to happen, in other words. Okay?
Yeah.
That is why she's like, even the Nazis were legal. The Nazis were those in Germany under Hitler before World War II. They thought they were the master race, the pure master race. They called themselves the master race, blonde hair and blue eyes. So they tried to create that kind of nonsense and say that they're the ones, you know. And what happened was, they killed 6 million Jews.
6 million?
Yeah. They say that it's 6 million. I think maybe just an estimation of the number. They say 6 million Jews, and you know, it's terrible. It's history, man. You should actually go into internet and just say the Holocaust. You'll see what's happening there. There's no reason about that. Anyway, she's just trying to say, so, and then she continues saying, so what does it mean to have the rule of law? And whose law is it anyway? That's big.
Yeah, that's
If other things were allowed to happen before, right? And they were called the rule. So what is it now that you're saying we have a rule of law? And whose law is it anyway? That is another question we should be asking ourselves.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So now comes the second paragraph. In our beloved South Africa, Constitution in 1994 and the rule of law took a new lofty meaning after the deck has been heavily stacked against the victims of the rule of law. That is true. Blacks are still poor. There are those who actually made it, but most of us are still poor. We still have Deep Slope, we still have Mshongo, we still have Mamelodi where this Quatercams, phase 5. We still have people that are staying in LDPs that are falling apart today. You understand? So what it means, the constitution of a country and this so-called rule of law took a lofty meaning in the deck and had been heavily stacked. It never liberated us, in other words.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Are you fine? Seems like you're crying.
So sad.
What is it? You're crying.
No, I'm just trying to imagine how South Africans have been treated in other countries. Like, that's so sad.
Yeah?
That's so sad.
Yeah, it is sad, eh? Like, seriously speaking, I don't know. You'll be fine. Alright, so now, can I continue? Okay, it was a new dispensation of justice after centuries of various oppressions of the indigencies of the land by invaders. Ne? But what has this beautiful constitution done for the victims except as a palliative? Like, I work a palliative, I work something like elastoplasty. I don't recall special referring to palliative care. It's something like that.
Okay.
Now, what is this law, done for us, the victims of the oppression of the same law before? Because people were under law, under apartheid, it was the law of the country. When 94 came, because we were free. You know, that drive everybody who's going to watch this video to the point that, how is this an attack on the judiciary? When somebody raised their own opinion. Because Chief Justice Zondo says on attack, and she should apologize.
But it was an honest truth, due to her own perspective.
Of course, and she never wrote this as, she didn't write this as under ANC title something, like a chairperson of this. She wrote this in her own personal capacity. And said, this is my opinion. This is what I'm saying.
And not specifically dedicating it
to anybody and say, you know what, you when I justice whoever does, it's just saying whatever I believe to be the truth. It's supposed to have been taken like that and let it go. But no, the guy went and called a press conference.
I've never heard Chief Justice Mopeng calling a
whole
press conference
just to.
No.
But if you want to be liked by people, that's what happens. If you want to buy them and make them as if you are this Chief Justice that actually is proactive, but it's going to be tight. So 7 is a very long time. He's going to be tight because it's a lot of work. Alright, and then look at Hatola Pilari. If you look around, we see a sea of African poverty.
It's already happening.
Yeah, we see it. Arabia, we see a sea of African poverty.
Mm-hmm.
But we've got this best constitution ever that the world is saying is the best ever we ever had in the whole world. Only because it says to people, listen, you had your chance, continue with your chance, it's fine, we understand, we can try to come into your chance. That's why it says, whose rule, whose law is it anyway? You understand? Whose law is it anyway? Fine, let's go on. Let us not fool ourselves and one another. The primary motivation of the evils of colonialism was and still is economic.
That's true.
1994 we had liberty in air quotes. Those who just listen to us, it's air quotes. We had that, but we don't own the economy.
Yeah.
We are still servants of white people in that regard. They never gave up their worth.
And there's still some black people who are still facing racism.
Of course.
Especially when they visit like this white people hotels sort of like.
Yeah.
They do.
There's an incident in Cape Town, 2014. I was there for a vacation when we left. There was an incident in a 12 Apostle something hotel where people were denied entry because they were black.
Wow.
Yes. Now, not 10, 15, 25 years ago before apartheid ended, like now in democracy, Cape Town. But Cape Town is full of shit because it's got its own things. We know that, and we'll talk about that one day as well. You understand? Because we know Cape Town is. No? But let's go back to the topic before we go like it's almost late. It's organized crime. Okay? The robbery of other people's land and resources, the exploitation and despiteful use of their labor. It is also about the reduction of those people to mass consumers and exclusion from ownership of the factors of production and wealth creation. All of us as the people, we want a job.
Yeah. Because
we've been taught a job is the only thing that's going to keep you alive.
That's true.
We are not being taught to be owners of everything. That is the truth. Hakizo Hamilton, I jump at this beautiful piece. The peace ring, men in robes are house negroes. A whole Chief Justice, a whole guy that actually has more profession than I am. The guy should be having what, B, LLB, degree or something, right?
It's not everyone whereby ramaphosa they got that degree.
Yeah.
Some don't.
Yeah, I know.
Some don't. But we won't give me tricky, so we have to understand.
About this one,
we have to understand.
People can be learned and educated. It's not the same thing.
It's not the same thing.
Like people who are educated are more educated and who are learned are just learned how to
they are taught how to do
something.
How to run it, yeah.
Wow, okay. That body is an applause. Who is that? Who is that button of applause? Who is that? There we go. Alright. But it seems today we have legitimized wrongdoing under the umbrella of the rule of law. Wow, this woman is powerful. Many years down the line, Africans managed poverty while others managed wealth.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, because you remember, you stayed in townships. And Rebecca as the maid servants in the house of white people.
Yeah.
And we accepted that as part of our life. That's how we are. You know, that's how we are. That's how the life is. We even call them makwaru or kwalaka just because my white person will give me old clothes and extra food that they don't want to eat. Or expiring food in 5 days, they give it to you and you thought that they loved you. But they didn't want to throw them away because they knew that you were there. And they gave it to you. And we accepted that kind of life to say that's our life. That's how we're supposed to live.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? What is it why I brought this thing up? Because you guys are coming along. You are 24, right?
Yeah.
You guys are coming along. And one day you'll be out there. You'll be those supposed to be in parliament talking about this. Some of us will be dead by that time, maybe. Because we are old. I mean, I'm 47, 42, fuck, I'm 43. Not 47.
Oh.
Yeah. You know, and it's taking me, but I know age, yeah, but I don't have it. Yeah. You see, so as you said, Africans managed poverty. We Nabohai, I grew up with no lights, no electricity, lawfully.
Where were you from?
It was a Lichtenberg. Boss lady, when you came after 94, right? When you were lights.
96.
Yeah? 96.
Yeah, there were lights.
Yeah, because Rona, we got lights, go to St. 96, like 2 years after elections. That's when you have electricity being put in the house. I grew up, my whole 12 years of schooling, I was using a candle to read and study. We didn't go home after school because we didn't know how we were going to do this, because there was one candle that has to light for us for the whole week. So we had to save that shit.
One candle.
Yeah, one candle, or we didn't light the whole house. We could light where we were sitting, in the dining room, maybe when we were eating supper, and maybe in the kitchen they're making supper. That's it. We can't light other rooms because the candles are going to be finished and there's poverty, there's no money to bring other candles in. So how just go on was this until 6. Then you go home. You're not going to do anything at night. You do your homework there within there because there's no lights with you. There's lights in the school, so you use that light. You understand?
Yeah.
So that's why she's saying now people manage poverty. That's how we were. That's how we grew up, some of us. Alright?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Apartheid somehow affected you guys.
not somehow it did. And most of us are damaged beyond. Our parents were damaged beyond. At least some of us managed to escape and come here. And we're able to say, no, we cannot do this anymore to ourselves. You understand? Anyway, where was I? Oh, no, where was I? Where was I? Okay. Yeah. And when he says the despiteful use of their labor, people was recruited from homelands. We had homelands in this country. We had like 4 homelands, the main ones. They were called the TVBC states. They were called the independent states. And they were like independent, like Lesotho and Swaziland. It was a lie, because they were just presidents there. They were administrators of the government to put us there and separate us from the rest of South Africa. Transvaal that time. Transkei, Xhosa only, Ciskei, Venda, and Putatswana. I'm coming from Putatswana. And there's only Putatswana people only admitted there. You guys was Venda only admitted there. And these 2 were Xhosa. Zulu was in Zululand and Ndebele's had Kangwai, but they were small. Those ones were the big ones. So they used to labor. My father worked here in the mines. They used to recruit people from there to come and work here for cheap. And then they go back home with nothing, sick. That's what she meant about exploitation of their labor. Gauteng, this Johannesburg was built by our fathers, who came from Venda and anywhere else to come and work in the mines for free and for nothing. You understand? That's how this thing was. You know, but anyway, that's, you know, it's history, and history will always bring history out, and for me, history is passion, because I did from school until matric, and I loved it. I wanted to be a lawyer, by the way, but then I asked.
It will suit you, because wow. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, it would, but You know.
No, you got a wrong profession.
Another story for another day. I'm telling you. All right. So, she continues says it is also about the reduction of those people to mass consumers and exclusions from the ownership of the what was I? Oh yeah, and then but it seems today we have legitimized wrongdoing under the umbrella of no. When we talk about transformation, ne? Is it just a buzzword when we talk about reconciliation? Ne? What we don't hear is economic reconciliation. How many times have you been told to do this rainbow nation nonsense?
A couple of times.
Not a couple, no, forever, since 94. Mandela was the rainbow nation, whatever.
Yeah.
We've been told that all the time. Forgive and forget, blah, 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 all that shit.
Yeah, learn to reconcile.
You understand?
Yeah.
But they never said, okay, now, after reconciling in banks, to go in the same bank together, to stay in the same queue, now let's reconcile in the same wealth. Let's all share everything equally, stock exchange, you give every black person a share and whatnot, all those things. They never did that. You know, I remember this thing's always in my head. This other white guy said something like, if only we knew as white people that you blacks, this is what you wanted all along, what's happening now, we could have given to you a long time ago.
And who was saying that?
Some other stupid white person, I wanted to kill him. God, in other words, nothing has changed for them. They're still in charge, they still enjoy it, they're still white. They thought after the divorce, we're going to take everything physically from them. So now he's like, no, it's fine, guys. No, man, continue. You are white. It's fine. That's what happens.
Oh, because we didn't fight for what belongs to us.
We didn't take it. From Botswana upwards, all those countries got independence in the 1960s. Right? And their colonizers left them. Like they left. There was no one who was still in parliament as a British in Botswana to be opposition party. There was no one as a British white person in Zimbabwe in their parliament. There were only blacks there. Here, they're still there, the DA telling us you are corrupt. The very person that actually, benefited from a crime against humanity is telling you today that you're corrupt, you cannot rule yourself. They want to come in. Imagine that. Yeah. What?
So white people are the ones who are telling us that we are corrupt.
Of course they are.
Wow.
What is Helen Suzman said about Zuma? The foundation?
Zuma Foundation.
No, not Zuma Foundation. Helen Suzman Foundation. I think they were the ones who had peace telling Zuma step down because he's corrupt. The DA is telling us every day that we're corrupt. We cannot rule ourselves. They want to come in. Yeah, where they rule the DA works. Look at Kalicha in Langa and whatever in Cape Town. I was there, I couldn't get out of the camera. No.
Why?
2014 I was there for a vacation in Cape Town, and when I got there, so this is the best land province. You could go there, you go Kalicha, Langa, all the black townships, you must just look at that nonsense and tell me what really? You look at the white areas there, wow. And you can never afford a house there as a black person unless you're a politician. Well, they did one thing, they showed a room like this one, for $1 million, just because a black person wanted to rent it. And the realtor said it's $1 million rent.
That's it?
Yeah, in Cape Town, Bishop's Court, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
Because they can't have black people living with them. That's Cape Town. And this is now. It's not 10, 50 years ago. It's now. But another topic for another day as well.
That's a deep racism, eh?
It is.
That's a deep racism.
It is. And people, sometimes, the thing is, the reason why I'm reading these things, because a lot of us as black people, we never bothered to read this thing. We took what the media told us. The news country is fucked up.
Oh, yeah.
We took what the media told us, and we took what Zondo said, and we took it like that, and then I as a gospel truth. And this segment is very long. I don't know if I'm going to finish it today, but I'm going to analyze this. I'm going to do the next number 2, hear the response, and then we can continue like that. Because people need to be educated. People need to learn. People need to learn to read. Sit down and read and actually get to understand what you are reading. Because most of us, Ne? We just get what we hear from the news and we take it like that. We don't even ask any questions.
We take it the way it is.
Yeah, we take it the way they are giving it to us. We don't even ask, oh guys, is it really that or what? We don't even go. I mean, even if I can, maybe let's say we can make an in-live phone call now and say people must call us and ask, and you ask them, did you read the Susu letter? What do you think of Susu? Do you think Zondo is right by saying Susu is taking them? He will say yes, but did you read the letter? No. Then how do you know it? Because Zondo said so. Because the news of this country will take snippets that will favor them and dish it to us and we eat it like that. So most black people in South Africa, that's why we call them clever blacks, because they don't want to read. They just take what the media is telling them, they think they're much better than us.
So I think that's on that point, I think that's why Zondo only picked that scenario.
Portion here, yes.
Yes. Because he think that that's what we want to hear.
Exactly.
Because that's where the what do they call it? The jury.
The judiciary.
Yes, it's been attacked without reading the whole full statement.
Exactly. That's why I'm reading this now, so people can make their own minds. And the reason why is because of there's this inconsistency in our law nowadays. I don't know what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a man was given 15 months for not appearing in court. Zuma was 15 months just because a law was created. That can't be used for censure. People had the balls, had the power to march to a court of law and say, you need to charge this person, and the court jumped. But now, 10 years, how many years later about censure? Nothing was done. They jumped now.
Since 2014.
Yeah.
That's so
Anyway.
bad. That's so bad.
Yeah.
That's so bad. And people are only jumping out now, saying, oh, we need to
tell the truth of what actually happened, really the truth, you know. Listen to this one. There are excellent reasons why the late Sampi Blanche, renowned economist and fighter for justice, kept insisting on a new Truth and Reconciliation Commission focusing on economic justice. Just for you kids as you know this thing. After 94, there was the first commission ever done in this country was called TRC, Truth and Reconciliation Commission, where people came to confess their crimes as police killing people, and we had to forgive them.
Okay.
You know, they will come there and people will be crying all over the place. Hey, the late bishop was the one who was hating that nonsense. He was hating that shit, and then you know what? People was just It was this thing of being seen to do something. Do you understand? Like how it works is like this. When the president of America, Kennedy, was shot, 1965, he was killed in a motorcade in Texas, dead. The police still picked up his body and went to hospital with him. And the doctors tried to work on him. 4 hours later, the man was dead already. Because cameras was there. So you need to be seen to doing something. You understand?
Yeah.
But people shouldn't say, let us say it or what. So we should do something. Lamta should just do CPR because people are watching. So this TRC was the same. They picked certain people. Others refused to come, like Porter, the president, he refused to go. They said, I'm not doing that shit. And they did nothing to him. They just find him like what? I think, 8 pounds? I'm not mistaken. Somebody can correct me later on. They find him that nonsense. And Zuma refused to go to Zondo, and he was contempt. He was charged by him. Like,
but not appearing on
not appearing in the court and not appearing in the commission actually. Look at the conflict of interest. I'm a chairperson of a commission myself. And then I'm the acting chief justice. And you come to me and I say to you, I'm not going to come to you and see you. Instead of dealing with me as the chairperson, you go to your colleagues, it's in this letter. You go to your colleagues and tell them, listen, this guy doesn't want to come and see me, do something about it. And they jumped. That's why the guy would have got 15 months. That's how this nonsense is fucked up. I mean, from the word go. Yeah. And like I said, these people are unelected. They are unelected people.
They were just selected.
They were selected by one person who liked whatever that he saw, because he knew that they were going to favor him forever, and they are doing that now.
And they're serving him right.
Exactly, and he's this. I mean, Zondo said something so stupid as ANC has saved us from when they're appointing ramaphosa. How can a whole Chief Justice say something like that? A whole Chief Justice is supposed to be impartial, doesn't have to be to be partisan. Don't take him for ramaphosa to be elected again. Imagine.
Zondo.
Zondo, he said that.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, well, I will come to him, don't worry. You know, but obviously his voice, like other voices calling for economic justice, economic restoration and economic reparations, are essentially as essential for reconciliation, has been constantly ignored by those with the power to actually give effect to this cause. If you're starting about RET, you are called to affection. RET's ANC policy, meaning radical economic transformation. The ANC people know that. They know RET is part of the ANC policy that was adopted by Nazareth. But now they're making this the Zuma thing. The clever blacks, the clever ones in the ANC now, who are busy milking this country to death. You understand? They are busy saying no, it's a RET thing, it's a faction of Zuma and Mahashud. It's like it's no longer part of the ANC written policy that this is going to be implemented. ANC in a ladies conference every 4 years, I believe, to elect new leaders, right? And they will have this policy conference as well. Policy conference means that they're now going to draft new policies to go to rule us, so to speak, when they're in power. RET, your like economic transformation, was adopted then, but now it's not there because
of the ruling, I think.
Yeah. Well, what? Anyhow, listen to this one. That demand should have been made greater with greater agency now than ever before. We should insist and not give up until they are met, which I support that one. We should do that. We don't want this reconciliation anymore. We want economic reconciliation now. We want to be rich as well. We want to be successful like ramaphosa. We want to have $4 million in our houses now one day. You need to have $4 million in my house and get robbed $4 million. Imagine a whole president of the country having $4 million, but figure says a person can only have $10,000. Yeah, that's the rule of the South African. That's the law of the South Africa. Like only, but he has $4 million.
In the country, it's not doing anything about it.
No, the media is silent. The foundations are silent. Everybody else is silent. But a president has $4 million, and his people in the same party that are working for them, they're not getting paid. Yeah, but it's fine. I like to look at another day. We're analyzing that day. These things, they just come, they come. But one has to lose focus. Because one has to deal with this thing. People must go back. Hey, go to Google and Google Susu's letter.
It needs to be addressed.
Exactly. Go to Google and Google Susu's letter and you'll see what I'm talking about. And read for yourself. So you can educate yourself. This is the whole point of this podcast. The whole point of us talking about this at night like this is for you guys to actually get out of your comfort zones. Just get out and just take a book. You've got smartphones. Use that thing for other than TikTok or Facebook. Just go into Google and say Sisulu's letter, and then just read for yourself. Get educated somehow. Stop being fed nonsense and then you just take it like that. You know?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Anyway, it says, continuing, she says, what we have instead witnessed under a supreme constitution and the rule of law since 1994 has been the co-option. And they take you in.
Yeah.
An invitation of political power brokers to the dinner table. Ramaphosa was the first BE. When BE came into the picture, he was the first. Ena, Tsakima Tsosoma, and the others, the black faces. How the co-option, I take you and I put you in here. I don't change anything. I adopt you. I absorb you. Just for them to have a black face. No, there's black people who are rich. Yeah, okay.
Oh, so they used him as
a black face, as a friend. Whose job is to keep the masses quiet, us, and their sufferings while they dine on caviar with colonized capital. Wow, this woman is powerful. Where's that laughter? Where's that applause? And it's happening now. Blacks are staying insulting. You start talking about black people who are suffering in Alexandra, who are suffering in Deep Throat. We don't want foreigners taking our jobs. The first thing they say, we are xenophobic. Because he's dining on that caviar with colonized money. He doesn't care. He's got money, he's got food. His kids are going to a private Crawford academy, whatever. They don't give a shit about us. That's why I always say to people, you know what? You guys must stop calling soccer analysts and calling them there. Call a person from Alexandria and ask him, how is it like to live there? Then they will tell you exactly what's happening. Instead, we're going to call a so-called doctor, whoever, who comes in there with a colonized education in his mind, and then he tells you, oh, you are xenophobic, by saying, you cannot come from Zimbabwe and come and manufacture and do crime in my country. You must go back home, illegally. If I say that, I'm called xenophobic. But whatever. After dinner, many things take place under the table and around the table. Some call it stomach politics. The politicians take care of themselves and their families, while those who put them there go to bed hungry, waiting for crumbs on the table.
That's very true.
Wow.
Like I said earlier, these people know business. Like they don't care about us as a society.
Yeah.
The ones who we put them there. They just care about themselves.
In Singapore, now, they actually strip them naked. They go into a parliament and they do take them all out. We put you in that parliament.
Yeah, that's true.
They take it and they strip them naked on the street and say, you're going to do your job. Because we put you there. Well, they've got all these bodyguards around them, which you're paying for, by the way. In comparison to what God said to Samuel when the Israelites was looking for a king. And he said, Samuel, it's fine. They are rejecting me as their king and as their leader. They want someone to rule over them. It's not a problem. Tell them these are the laws. This is what's going to happen if they elect someone to do that. And he told them exactly what's going to happen if the king gets in there. And all of them was terrible. He's going to take this. He's going to take your sons, make them soldiers. He's going to take your daughters and make them this. He's going to do that. It's there in the Bible. People still said, no, want the king of our heads. And the king came and did exactly what the God said. Now we are behaving the same way as people as well. It's like we are doing us a favor by being in parliament and getting paid a lot of money for nothing. Except promises and lies.
That's true.
That's true. Why? Okay, let me just go because our time is going to be over soon. Yeah, guys, as I said, our podcast is available on Spotify, the app, and then you just go in there, search Spotify, search Word on the Street with Hostess Someone, you'll find me there, and then please subscribe and hit that notification bell, then you can get all the episodes there. And then you'll hear Rotenda as we continue recording this podcast now, and then she'll be coming as a guest, and she'll be coming with her own topics. Yes. And we'll discuss more and we'll talk more, and then we're going to have fun. This is the whole point, is to have fun. Is to educate ourselves, each other, and really have fun as well. It's not a matter of only, whatever, but we're here to do that. That's the whole point of having this thing. You see? And you are actually invited as well as viewers at home, and who's going to be watching this on YouTube and who's going to listen to this on Spotify or Anchor, that you can actually email me at info@holdings.co.za. Email me your topics and your questions, and comment on our Facebook page. I'm going to drop this episode there today. Comment there. Listen, comment, and tell me, listen, let's talk about this too. And if you want to come and sit with me like this on this desk and talk, do that. You're allowed. Yeah. All right. So, It says, what else explains the sudden astronomical wealth of so-called liberators over a short space of time? How did some become multi-billionaires and multi-millionaires overnight, while a third of their fellow citizens languish on social grants? It takes several years for families and businessmen to earn the status of multi-millionaires or billionaires, but after real hard work and value creation. But like Mzansi Magic, we have some socialism sprouting liberators, drapes in flags transformed and copied into capital class and leafy suburbs. 1990, when ANC was unbanned, 1990 I think, or before that, Mandela was bought a house by Oppenheimer in Rotenda, a very big mansion, which is now under ruin because no one stays there. Govan Beg, Baba Beg was given a house as well by the white people that owns mines and whatnot. Zuma was asked to go to KZN to stop a fight between the ANC and Inca. Yeah. And that's why he asked for what has he done so bad, because he never took any proceeds of apartheid like other liberators who did. So people was given they were given shares in companies, the black liberators who came from exile, who were the leaders of the ANC at that time. That's why they killed Chris Hani, because Chris Hani said he doesn't want part of that nonsense. And they shot him because it was going to be too much. Yeah. That's what she's talking about now. You know, that's what she's talking about now. Here, Buaka, this thing of whatever. 1994, they started to put petrol in their cars. Some didn't even own one. And yet, when it's election time, you'll hear them sprouting, our people, our people. Surely this is not a vision of the real liberators, those whom we revere as the struggle stalwarts. They have gone to their graves with dream deferred, their lives' work being meshed, and sacrifices spent upon. What happened to us? What's working? I'm gonna jump to that part. Zondo. Yeah. Everyone got the attack, the so-called attack. Sorry. Politicians in parliament are called lawgivers. They make the law, right? During colonization apartheid, the lawgivers were purposeful. Their purpose was rooted in the philosophy of white supremacy and entitlement to everything, including the bodies of those they falsely believed to be inferior. It was simply to take and colonize and defend for kith and kin. It was about power, economic power, political power, military power, social power. Simply means the apartheid politicians knew what they were doing. Ours, we don't know shit.
That's true.
We don't know nothing.
That's true.
You know, and then today, the language of law has done little to really change anything. Well, all the SOEs, ESCOM, SAA, DENEL, Sportnet, then it's now called Transnet. All these things was created for poor whites. Yeah, after 94. It was created for poor whites after 94. Sorry, after World War II. Because white people went to war, when they came back, they were poor. The economy failed, the whole world had recession. So white people in South Africa, most of them were suffering. So the government said, no, let's create SOEs, state-owned enterprises that can employ unskilled white people and put them, then skill them in there. Not blacks, them.
So blacks started inventing after 1994?
No, we never invented anything. What happened is that we found a system like that, but we never really did anything to change. That's why I was on Mola Wanoyana, over the Wakal was for a certain number of people. ESCOM was designed, I was telling this other white guy, ESCOM was designed to give you people what like I say fair. White people only got electricity from ESCOM. We had to pay a lot of money to get into my house and still pay every month, every fee, to have lights in my house. You understand? So that's why now the grid cannot take it because everybody has lights and for free, except for coupons and whatnot. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So what he said, but the law now has done nothing. If people can create a law before to favor a certain percentage of people in the country, why can't the very same law now favor the other people as well? You understand?
Yeah.
So let's jump quickly to this one that's yeah. She said the most dangerous African today is the mentally colonized African. When you put them in leadership positions or as interpreters of the law, they are worse than your oppressor. They have no African or Pan-African inspired ideological grounding. Some are confused by foreign belief system. In America, these interpreters are called house niggers. It is what the father of Black history, Carter Woodson, strenuously explained about in his famous book, The Miseducation of a Negro. Woodson wrote, if you control a man's thinking, you don't have to worry about his actions. You do not have to tell him to stand here or go yonder. He will find his proper place. You don't need to send him to the back door. He will go without being told. In fact, if there is no back door, he will cut one for his special benefit. That's what Zondo says was like it was an attack. After all that we have read from the beginning, this little piece he explained what the Equality was saying. That's no attack, it's the truth.
It's the truth.
They are upholding which law? A judge must say, listen, these laws are just. Take it out. Let's create a new law that's going to be just for everybody. But instead, no, we don't. We still continue the same law and Dutch law. That's what I'm saying. This letter is very long. Hey? It's like how many pages? It's a long letter. It really a fella. But what I'm saying, I mean, after everything that you've spoken about, what are you taking for yourself? Was there really an attack?
No.
When the lady was trying to analyze what's happening in our country today?
Actually, she's illustrating how the country is already.
Yeah.
And what do they call this? Initiating the difference between the old South Africa
system and the new one.
Yeah, and the new one.
And this is supposed to be better, but
That's
it's
true.
worse.
And it's worse than before.
Anyway, guys, like I said, it's a very long leadership. What you can do for yourselves, yeah? Just go to Google, get the letter, read for yourself, and judge for yourself. And really, before you can actually take whatever the media of this country is telling you, just do things by yourself, freely. Don't just jump and say, yo, the media is saying this, that means it's true. There was no attack. The guy is trying to become celebrity.
It's the whole truth.
Yeah, and I hope he's listening to, he's going to watch this podcast one day, listen to it. And he must come here, give music, yeah, we didn't celebrate too much. It's the truth, we didn't celebrate too much. Like, just press conference. She must apologize. I want to do the second segment tomorrow about his response to Mr. Sisulu.
So he did respond already?
He did. There's a letter of him here responding, but then we don't have time now. We are out of time now, season out. Yeah. And I want to close by saying, guys, thank you so much for watching. And thank you so much for subscribing and that notification bell. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to post all these things in my Facebook that you can go to for yourself as well, my Twitter page as well. And like I said, you are free to comment. I want an honest opinion about what you think. It's about time we educate ourselves. And really get to know what we are doing. Because we are sitting here being told something, we take it like that. You don't even go search for yourself and say, oh, but this is not how it is.
We're being fed.
We're being fed and we are just...
something that we want to hear.
Exactly. And just open up our mouths like that. But as I said, thank you so very much for being with us tonight. Thank you so much, Rotenda, for being with me today. Making this easier. You know, it's so nice to talk to somebody because it's a nice conversation. First lady, thank you so much for the camera movement, and you know what, guys, thank you. There's not much words I can say, but what I'm saying to you is that, you know what, please comment on our Facebook page, comment on my Twitter line, @Sohongwale, @KG Holdings. The YouTube channel is up and running, but I haven't uploaded any videos yet. I'm going to upload them from now. Please comment there as well. and let's engage in these matters. Send me your topics that you want to talk about. We will talk about everything. This is Word on the Street with Kosti Sohomani, and I'm signing off and I'm saying thank you so much. Have a good night. Have a blessed night. Ciao.